Feminism in today's world is a very debatable topic. Everyone has a view on feminism. Everybody talks about ki kya hai, kya nahi hai. But today I'm going to talk about a very seminal feminist writer, and that is Virginia Woolf. Not getting into the nitty-gritty, the debate that revolves around the idea of feminism, but we're going to talk about ki Virginia Woolf ka kya take tha. What did she talk about, that how women should get enough independence so that they can be financially, economically free from the clutches of the patriarchal society. So talking about this, let's talk about Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own, Gender, Freedom and Opportunity, a very seminal topic, something that you should know even as a UPSC civil servants, because she is one of the most important proponents when it comes to the second wave of feminism. Okay, so let's talk about this. And we have, so Room of One's Own, first of all, just let me give you an idea ki text tha, and this was written when Virginia Woolf wanted to give an idea ki kis tarah se the female writer should have that, you can say, an ownership of the space, of that time and of that mental, the freedom to do some work, to give good writing. Why do we have so much good literature from male writers? Because they had a space. They had that mental freedom. They had that capacity to write. But a woman, because of the responsibility, because she does not have a space of its own, she is not able to recollect her thought, put them down in a good perspective and give a clear idea what she exactly wants to say. Simply, she is saying that give women a space in the house, give her that freedom to write and give her the time to write. This is only how female writers are going to come up on stage and own the world of the literary phenomena. So this is something that we're going to talk about. So introduction, a quiet revolution. Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own is not a loud protest, but a very quiet revolution. Over here, we're not talking about any candle marches. Virginia Woolf was not the one who was bearing flags and out on the street, but she just wrote this essay and this became a revolution. So this quiet essay, and she's not shaking out and saying that we want this, we want that. She's just saying that give them a particular space. So in this essay, Woolf shows that society has always kept women away from the opportunities needed to express their creativity. Creativity kaise aati hai, guys? Kya creativity when you are in the hustle bustle of the household chores? When you are occupied completely with so many responsibilities, kya tab aati hai? No. Creativity, everyone has that creativity. We need to tap on that creativity. And there are a lot of people that we know that they have that something in them, but they do not have the capacity to write because they do not have the opportunity. वो जगह नहीं है, वो space नहीं है. So she speaks gently but firmly, asking why women with the talent were often silenced or forgotten. Her work is a call for freedom, not just for women, but for all minds that wish to create. So yes, A Room of One's Own, she is in a way talking about women, but she also is giving an idea कि creativity को कैसे tap in करना है. अगर हमें कोई जगह चाहिए, even you all know that UPSC जैसे एग्जाम को क्रैक करने के लिए you need a space, you need a room of your own, you need a kind of a freedom जहाँ पे आप अपने आप को explore कर सकें, because the unchecked potential that we have, which we do not even realize, that only comes when we do have that space with us. So yes, this work is a lot about that, talks about that how a room of one's own, a space of one's own, even if there's a table of one's own, how that can help you in unleashing the creativity within you. So over here we have the central argument kya tha? Money and a room. Woolf very famously said, a woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction. Why money? Because yes, money does give you the power of time. जब आपके पास money होगा, you do not have to worry about 100 things otherwise. Okay, otherwise you are juggling with money, you are hustling for money, and then do you have time to write? Not at all. Not at all. Do you have time to unleash your creativity, express your creativity? Not at all. So she means that without financial security and personal freedom, it is very hard to think deeply or create anything lasting. Guys, she's being very practical. She was not a woman who was giving some lectures or motivational lectures or some, kind of sermons. She was very practical. She was like, you want to write, you want to become a writer, What do you have to support you as to become a writer? Do you have that financial security? Is someone supporting you? Is someone helping you to eat, like have your 3 meals a day, and still you can continue with writing? If it is so, then you have that ability that yes, you can go and create something of your own. So money gives independence, a room gives peace. And that's true. It's take literally. Money gives you independence and a room gives you peace. And only when you have this combination, a security that yes, you do have that money, then you have the ability to write. If you have that space, then you have the ability to think. So without these, even the talented people are forced to live lives focused only on survival, not on any imagination or dreams that do not come to any play if you do not have those factors. Very practical advice, a very practical essay, and a very important one. It's a very seminal essay. When you talk about feminist literature, feminist writing, then this essay is always mentioned, Virgina Woolf, A Room of One's Own. Freedom beyond 4 walls, the room. Woolf speaks of is not just about having 4 walls and a door, but it stands for mental space. It stands for freedom from constant duty, the responsibility, the household chores that women are fettered with, and the right to focus on your own thoughts. She shows how women tied to housework and family pressures rarely get time for themselves. If you look back in your own house, there we have our talented mothers who've given up their careers in order to just look after the children, make sure that they have good cooked meals. The times is changing. The time is very drastically changing. The women are definitely more empowered and are rushing towards their own dreams. However, still there is a very good section of society who do not believe in this. Freedom is not luxury. It is a basic need for greatness. So yes, the freedom to have a room of your own also does not only restrict to the confinement of the 4 walls, but also that if a duty has to be done, somebody else is maybe taking care of that. If you have to look after your children, then somebody else is there to look after them. Okay, so that is something that you need to have that mental space. Then exclusion across century. Woolf reminds us that for hundreds of years, women were denied education, property, public voice, the right to vote, and so on. Universities were closed to them, libraries were banned for them, and society discouraged their ambitions. The essay goes on and is a very good historical archival research on how women were completely denied any of the basic right that was so, like casually accepted by men. Right to education, right to read books, right to go to the library, right to have an ambition, right to work, right to be in the public sphere. This all was completely banned, shut for them very vehemently. History, she says, must remember what it chose to forget. Therefore, this is the reason that she talks about that there are many writers, there are many authors who should have been a part of the literary tradition. They are excluded, and Virginia Woolf was one of them to bring in a lot of writers. She did a lot of archival research. And she was the one to bring a lot of writers saying that, why is our entire Western canon, when talk about English canon, if you look at the English canon, it was replete with only male authors. Where are the female voices? Not that they were not writing. And this is exactly what Woolf so vehemently focuses on, that please, we need to have female writers, what they used to think, what they used to have. And this again was a revolution. In the canon, many female writers were added. However, they still were very few number, and male writers of course outnumbered that many women, the women writers. Then Shakespeare Success. So this is a wonderful story that, she says that, she creates a very fictional character, that is Judith, who was Shakespeare's sister. In actual, there was no Shakespeare sister named Judith, but she said that, in that time, if there was a Shakespeare sister, Judith, she still would have not been able to make it. Why? Because Shakespeare was a male. Shakespeare had the authority, the choice, the freedom to navigate his career, make himself a big name. But Judith, with the same capacities, with the same capabilities, with the same genes, she would not have been able to do it. Why? Because she was a woman. So Shakespeare's sister's story of lost genius, to explain her point, this was all fictional, but this is how she very beautifully explained the point. Woolf imagined that Shakespeare had a sister named Judith, just as brilliant as him, just as wonderful, bright as him. But while Shakespeare became famous, Judith would have been forced to marry, early denied education, and punished for wanting more. Okay, so women at that time having ambitions were looked down upon very condescendingly. That, how could you even have ambition? You have the ambition is your children, your household duties, to make your husband happy. That's all. In the end, her talent would be lost and no one would have ever heard her story. Through this example, Woolf asks us, how many such geniuses have we lost because of this unfair system? So this is a question that we need to ask ourselves even in today's time, that yes, we know a lot of, even in our families, our extended families, we do have very bright women who could have made so to great extent, very big in their life, but what pulled them down? And we know them, what it is that pulled them down. So guys, a broader call, equality of opportunity. Woolf is not only fighting for women's right to right now, she's fighting for equal opportunities for all. This is exactly what feminism is, guys. Equal opportunities, all equal cerebral opportunities for all. Okay, something that, if a man has the opportunity to make something big out of his life, so should a woman get that opportunity. She sees the talent is everywhere, but it needs the right conditions to grow. Talent is everywhere, but it needs to be harnessed. It needs to be polished. A talent needs to be nurtured. If a woman has that talent, but there's no one to navigate, help her, or maybe, even if not even help her, make sure that she explores on her own. If she does not have the time, the power, the money, what is that talent going to be unused? So without basic support, money, education, time, even the brightest man can wither away. Society must give everyone equal opportunity so that they know they can, make sure that they can unveil the talent that they have. And the world will then not lose the geniuses that we have so far, have been losing them all this while. Relevance for today's India and UPSC, why it's important, guys. Even in India, this is something that I wanted to relate with, how you can help it in writing your UPSC answers or maybe in your interviews. It's a very wonderful essay to quote or to talk about, even in your essays when it comes to feminism or into gender studies. So even in India and across the world, Woolf's ideas remain very powerful. The need for gender equality, women's education, freedom of thought and economic independence are major topics in our constitution, policies, and yes, so we know that how important is the idea of gender, feminism, women's right in today's world, especially when we talk about India. And this is the reason that this work, Virgina Woolf, A Room of One's Own, becomes so significant for your UPSC exams. Guys, final thought, freedom creates genius. So at the end, just a final thought, guys, at the heart of Woolf essay is a simple truth, and that truth is talent is common, opportunity is rare. So this is something that the last message that I wanted to give you all. Talent hota hai sabke paas, lekin us opportunity, do we have that opportunity to knock on that talent and make something out of it? That opportunity, that chance is rare. So when we create a society where everyone has their own room, their own chance, their own opportunity, their own mental freedom, financial freedom, we allow genius to shine. And if you do have that, then you are very privileged. Make sure that yes, you do take a great opportunity, this opportunity that you have to the full extent. Freedom, dignity, and respect for all individuals are the real foundation of creativity, leadership, and progress. Woolf teaches us that yes, to build a better world, we must make space for every mind to grow. If you want this human race to develop, keep evolving, do not come to a standstill, then what do we have to do? The least that we can do is give every human being, irrespective of their gender, man or women, anyone, we have to give them the opportunity to grow, to make sure that they unleash their talent and make sure that whatever genius, creativity they have is shown to the world. So guys, with this, I'm coming to an end of a very seminal work, A Room of One's Own. Go ahead, definitely read about Virginia Woolf, read about the essay, and yes, Judith Shakespeare is a wonderful example that you would love reading about if you want to go ahead with such more interesting lessons. And if you are if you've taken English literature as a UPSC optional subject, do take this course. And today is the starting of our batch, and we will be covering all the entire text, whatever that units you have, paper 1 as well as paper 2. So I hope to see you all in the classes. The course is only for rupees 14,999. Use my code ARLive. Go ahead with the classes. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you again.